Okay, so behind me on the wall, you see 4 guitars, which I just used to create a little loop. Now, I just sort of came up with that off the top of my head, so it's not the greatest loop you've ever heard, obviously. And I forgot to turn it off when I unplugged one time, so there's a nice little pop in there. But hey, you know, whatever. You'll have that, right? And that was really just so you could sort of hear each of these guitars, because they have something in common. What could they have in common, I wonder? Well, we've got an acoustic. It's an Alvarez acoustic. This is actually my wife's acoustic guitar. We've got 2 basses here, a PV 6-string, and then an Epiphone viola style bass, which is actually, this is my wife's bass. And then you've got an electric guitar, an SG Special. It's special. So, what do they have in common? Any guesses? Well, let's see. I'll tell you. What they have in common is strings. They all have the exact same strings on. Well, not exact same, but the same maker and the same type of strings. Each one has a set of DR coated strings. The acoustic, the electric, and the viola bass have the white color, the neon white. And on the PV, I've actually got the Black Beauties. Now, some of you may not know what I'm talking about. DR is a string company, obviously, and they make strings. Being a string company, that would kind of make sense, right? One of the series, sets, whatever you want to call it, strings they make is called the neons. And they are a type of coated string. Now, they're not all neon. They've got the Black Beauties that are black. They've got some called like dragon skin that are just, they look plain, but they have the same coating on them. I'm not exactly sure what type of coating it is. You could look it up on their website, I'm sure, as far as like what, if it's a polymer or whatever, I don't really know. But what this does, it sort of bridges the gap between just plain bare strings and, say, your Elixirs. Now, Elixir makes coated strings too. And I've played some, and they're nice, but they're expensive, you know. You're going to pay twice what you would pay for a set of normal strings for a set of Elixirs. Easy. These are more expensive than just a plain set of strings. But not a whole lot, like a couple bucks more, I think. So, they sort of bridge that gap and give someone who doesn't want to spend a ton of money on strings that coated feel. And they do feel really good. So, we're going to look at I'm going to give you my opinions on them. I've been trying these out for a while. They all got restrung at basically the same time, and you know, I'll be honest with you, it was probably like a year ago. And they all still sound pretty good. I mean, they still feel good. So this is going to be my review of the DR coated strings, so that if you've been interested, you can watch this, and you'll have an opinion of, well, just a guy who sort of plays guitar. I mean, I'm not a professional or anything, but I'll give you my opinion for what it's worth. And you can look up other people's opinions, you know, that sort of thing. Now, the cool thing is, just this has nothing to do with the strings themselves, really, it's sort of a side note. The neon strings, which is certain ones, the white ones here, if I had a black light on in this room and the lights off, they would glow, man. It's cool. Now, that's not very useful, it's not very important, but it's kind of cool. So, here is the deal. We're going to look at how they held up. That's probably the most important thing. I mean, they sound just as good to me as any other string. Now, maybe you're one of those people who's like a tone chaser, and you can tell the difference between every type of string. Like, you could blind test here. Oh, that's a D'Addario, and that's a Martin, and maybe that's you. If that's you, that's great. I'm just a regular dude, and for me, they don't really sound all that different from like a set of D'Addarios or honestly like a set of Elixirs. They sound, strings are strings, especially on electric instruments. Now, on the acoustic, you might be able to tell it a little more, but on an electric, it's pretty much just a string. I mean, you know. So they sound about the same, so we're not going to worry about the sound quality. I mean, you can hear, they sound pretty good. And this is after they've been on there for, a year, probably. Now, they don't necessarily get played a whole lot. The most played set of strings up here is probably that bass, followed up by the electric guitar. They're my two instruments because I play more. I have played these other two a good bit too, to sort of see how they feel. Now here's my opinions. The pros for these strings is that they are pretty smooth. I mean, you can, if you feel them, you can still feel the round wound part. So it's not like flat wound smooth, but it's a lot smoother on your fingers than, say, a bare string. So there's that. On that front, they do exactly what they are advertised to do. They're smooth, and they actually cut down on the scrapey noise, whatever you want to call it, like when you slide your fingers up the strings. You still hear it, but it's not quite as pronounced as with an uncoated set of strings. So that's pretty cool. As I said, they sound fun. I mean, they sound good. I think they sound just as good as any other string you're gonna find. So they sound good. They feel good. They're not super expensive. I mean, like I said, they're a little bit more expensive than just bare strings, but not by enough that you go, oh, I can't do it. You know, they're like $1, $2 more, something like that. So they're affordable. Another pro, like I said, that has nothing to do really with the strings sound or anything, but if you get one of the neons, like they've got white, they've got like blue, pink, yellow, orange, American flag colors. They've got a set you can get where each string is a different color. They got all sorts of cool stuff with that, and every one of them glows under like black light. So if you're someone who plays, professionally on stages a lot, that could be a cool feature for you, because when they turn down the lights and turn up the sort of black lights or backlights, your strings will be glowing and stuff. It's pretty cool looking. I mean, that's kind of a stupid pro, but it is a pro, I think. Unless you don't want your strings to glow in the dark, in which case, get you a set of Black Beauties or the Dragon Skin, which is clear and doesn't glow. But we'll look at some of the cons. I will go ahead and warn you, if you use heavy picks, I've been using these chicken picks a lot. If you use something like that, a thick sort of pick, or if you have just a heavy hand when you're playing like I do, then the coating on the thinner strings especially, honestly doesn't hold up super great. You can, let's see, bring this close to the camera here and let you see if you can sort of tell. You can see there on that part, the upper strings, the coating is pretty much gone. And they are pretty much down to bare string there. So, like I said, if you play with a heavy hand or heavy picks, that sort of thing, they might not be the best thing for you just because the coating won't hold up. That being said, on the basses, I haven't had any issues because I play fingerstyle mostly, so they haven't really felt the brush of a pick for the most part. I mean, I use a pick occasionally, but not enough that it's going to wear the coating out. But if you're a bass player who uses a pick all the time and plays really hard, you might wear the coating off. I don't know. So that would be a con, that especially, like I said, if you got the heavy hand like I do, the coating is going to wear off on you. And that's probably about the only con I can think of. I mean, they're good. I like them. I might not do the colored coated ones on my electrics or acoustics anymore because, like I said, the coating wears off. Then again, on the acoustic, it's not as big of a deal because I use thinner picks. So the only reason these are sort of worn is because I didn't have a thin pick one day. All I had was one of the chicken picks, and so I had to use it. And 4 or 5 songs of lots of strumming with a heavy pick, yeah, it kind of wore through it a little bit, but it's still there. So that's my review of them. If you've tried these out and you got a different opinion or something I haven't come up with, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff, and keep a lookout for more stuff to come. We've got other stuff we're going to be looking at. So I hope y'all are having a great start to your weekend. I'm filming this on a Friday, so the weekend's coming. Hopefully I'll get this up today. I don't know, it depends on how long it takes me to edit it all together and all that. But hey, if it's not the weekend when I post this, y'all have a great week. Whatever it is, hey, it is what it is, man. Yeah. See you next time.